Yo, yo. What up? What up? Yo. What up? What up? Hey. Hey, welcome. Welcome to Benny's crib. What up? Yeah, just leave your shoes over there. It's cool. Yeah, thanks. Does that sound cool? Yo, what up? Welcome to Benny's crib. Beautiful people, we are here. We are live. Portland, Maine, another tremendous interview in the world of music and art and local culture. Today we have a hip-hop artist, in my opinion, celebrating a pretty dope album that came out back in May. Am I tripping?
Yeah, it was May.
May?
Yeah.
The name of that project is Ye of Little Faith, I believe.
Yeah.
Was the 7-4 supposed to be pronounced too, or was that like some kind of like
Nah,
file shit?
That was just some like cryptic, numbers at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a meaning, but yeah, we just
Perfect. Because I kind of feel like there was meaning in a sense in the fact that you kept I don't know, just like a precision with the thematic elements and sequencing, it seemed like. But this is not an introduction question. We'll get to that later in the podcast. We have Jahlil. How we doing?
Doing amazing, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome to Benny's crib.
This is great.
Shout out Yardy Ting. Shout out Soto on the instrumental y'all just heard on the intro. Shout out Willow Picks for holding it down. This is the Young birthday episode as well. Man, it just feels good to be here and doing interviews and shit, man. Trying to be really authentic and grateful and in the moment because we live in such a wild time where everything is infinitely ever-changing and it feels like groundbreaking news is getting dropped at the rate where it's so saturated you can't even process the power of it. We got animals and technology integrated at the same time as my cat jumps on the desk for podcast peeps. And we're going to pivot quickly now to the first question I like to ask everybody. Jahlil, what's your first memory of hip-hop?
My first memory of hip-hop? Probably... Wow, this is actually crazy. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that, but like off rip, it's Crank That Soulja Boy. Like that's my first real memory of hip hop.
When were you born?
1999.
Joey Badass. So
Yep.
you are like definitely a product of the internet generation.
Yeah.
Like the first, because I'm 94 and I feel like I was just 5, you know, like when you're born is old enough to remember how shit was. But like I feel like do you remember VHSs or DVDs more?
I feel like I remember DVDs more. Like I have more DVDs,
Yeah.
but I have a personal attachment to VHSs.
Yeah, so
Something special about that for sure.
definitely. I was at the transitional time where DVDs like were, because I was born in '94 and it was just VHS. Shout out, physical media and shit. And seeing the transition into DVD, was just like, wow, this is so cool. So I mean, you're only like 5 years or detached from that, so you're experiencing the same thing. And then seeing like 4K come out now, it's like. Even stuff like that still blows my mind. I don't know if internet motherfuckers like understand how like, or I shouldn't say internet motherfuckers. If like real youngins like teens understand. When I was growing up, and I'm not that much like older than y'all. If you had a camcorder that could like film shit at like 360p, you was lucky. That's ill to have that. Now we have 4K on our phones.
Yeah, all accessible.
It's like 25 years. That's a jump. That's like one of the biggest technological jumps ever.
Yeah.
Damn, we're getting real technological. You can tell. We zipping and having fun already early. But I want to get back to your story, man. I don't want to take too much of the listeners here. Where did you grow up, man? Where were you born, I guess?
Okay, so, getting into the life story. I was born...
The linear narrative.
Right. I was born in Houston. Was adopted by a family up here, and I ended up growing up in Falmouth, like out the way, just right across the bridge here. So grew up in Maine all my life till I was about 18, and since then, after that, growing up in Maine is beautiful out here, but it's definitely an interesting experience depending on where you come from.
Yeah, let's talk on that. Like, just break down kind of what that means to you. Like, what was it like, or like, even just your perspective, like what you spent your time doing, shit like that, in terms of what your youth brings about when you think back.
Yeah, so I mean, man, it's a blessing, man. I had an amazing childhood. I had a really, just like wholesome and like enjoyable childhood, like growing up. And Maine is such a beautiful place for that. So, you know, I spent a lot of time like outside and stuff. I did like Cub Scouts and that kind of thing. And I was in sports too, so, you know, just a lot of time either in the sticks or on the field. So, you know, which, you know, is pretty commonplace for, you know, I think a lot of people growing up here and just kids in middle America in general. So
was there any like things that weren't so popping or like just negative aspects?
I would say, I mean, this can be a whole topic. Like this is something that, like, I don't know, kind of is definitely like a defining thing of my life and of like growing up, my childhood and everything. But, you know, yeah, definitely. I was talking with a friend the other day, but like definitely being just being adopted in general, and then being, you know, I think growing up, I think there was maybe 5 black kids in my graduating class, and then, you know, the rest of the school, everybody, it's pretty monochromatic. That's how I should put it. So, you know, that was an experience by itself. And it's not to say, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to speak negatively of it, but there were definitely challenges growing up that way.
I mean, there's mad racist motherfuckers out here in Maine, and like one thing about Benny's crib is like I like to make sure people get to hear like different perspectives that this white ass state, this white ass media landscape doesn't understand, and that's just something that I think has to be like talked about across the board, because pretty much every black guest I've had on this show has been like, yeah, like there's been like some challenges growing up black in Maine, and that's something that needs to be said, in my opinion, like to the masses, because I mean, especially in today's like social media world, if I can even say this shit and speak on this topic, like as a white dude, it's like there's so many motherfucking like digital fake like activists and like social media justice motherfuckers, and it's like this is real life, man. Motherfuckers get like treated certain ways just because of shit that's like out of everyone's control, man. And that shit sticks. And like we hear stories again and again, not just on this shit, like everywhere, bro. And I just appreciate you speaking on that. Like I guess that's the main thing I want to say, because in my opinion, that shit needs to be said. And I'm glad, you know, hopefully it's not the defining thing, but it seems like a major takeaway from a lot of motherfuckers. Who appreciate you hanging with the cat too. It's kind of distracting, yeah. But
keeping it lively.
That's good though, man. I mean, like, just I appreciate the honesty.
No doubt.
Let's keep the honesty going. Let's keep the talks of life and youth and just in general, everything going. What were your hobbies as a youth, maybe besides like sports? Like, were you into music at all as like a listener, or like, you know, art at all?
Yeah, so I mean, sports pretty much took up most of my time, but I did start I think my journey with music, because that's definitely something I've always like been attached to, or has been attached to me, I guess. Started playing piano early when I was like 8 years old. But it didn't last long, because I was like really stubborn about like the lessons and like practicing and stuff. Like I was such a wild kid. Like sitting down for piano was like, I don't know, just to get my mom to get me to do that was always like kind of a challenge and stuff. But I loved it a lot, but I just didn't have the patience for it when I was a kid. So, but it did come back to me later as I've, you know, my like teen years and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think growing up, it was pretty much just that, like, and it's just kind of strange. Like, I don't really think I started developing my own like personal hobbies and like personal pursuits until, you know, like, you're a teenager and you have those like coming of age moments and stuff, and you get introduced to new things and like alternatives, and a lot of that was through like hip hop and stuff. So like,
I wanted to keep talking about Crank That.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Do you feel like that was a pretty like defining moment in your exposure to music and culture?
Absolutely, because one of the things was, I think it showed me a lot, like it showed me how powerful this thing that like hip hop is, because I remember like some of my first memories, I had a couple of you know, most of my friends growing up were white, but I had like, there was two black kids that I was friends with in church, and I just remember like when you asked me that question, like my first memory of like hip hop was like, you, that Soldier Boy,
in
you,
church and shit.
Yeah. Nah, we didn't have the whole get up. That would have been sick.
Oh yeah, cause wait, I could be wrong. I'm getting like a visual. Are you referencing that like the music video where they're in the church and shit?
Hell yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Big baggy.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the deal. We just got to talk about the cultural impact of that time again, because I'm a first-hand experiencer of this, as you are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool to be different game, like, or times in the game in a sense. Like, I'm 6th grade when that comes out in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. The impact of that was so wild. You had kids, even like months after that song coming out, going like, "Yeah, bitch, yeah," like on the bus, which was a Soulja Boy song. I don't even know what motherfuckers was saying. And then I found the Soulja Boy album, like, kind of when I finally had internet accessibility, because I didn't have, like, the internet until, like, later than most kids. And I was like, holy shit. Half the jokes these motherfuckers been saying is from the Soulja Boy album.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the most influential things, I think, culturally in America at the time, in youth culture, at least.
Yeah.
And it's not, let's be honest, it's a banger.
Yeah.
But technically, like, that's not the most well-rapped song of all time, bro. Like, come on, man. I'm just going front. Like, I think that... But that type of music is integral to life. We need fun music. We need vibes. And I ain't never talking shit about that type of music. But I'm just saying, I mean, Soulja Boy is not, top 10. It ain't anybody's top 10 in terms of, like, the density of the verses he's putting out.
Right,
Maybe an impact, which is what my, 2 cents is. Do you just have any other memories from that time period about, like, maybe Soulja Boy is a good example, but, like, I feel like the internet, at least for me, that's when it exploded with hip-hop. Yeah. Soulja Boy and LimeWire come into my head at the same time. Like, it was very, like, MySpaces at that time. I don't know if you were old enough for that shit, but it was, like...
I, like, just missed MySpace, but, yeah.
It was weird because we were experiencing a very computerized version of the internet. The internet wasn't some shit you had in your pocket or on a laptop you could bring everywhere. Some people had laptops and shit, but it was like clunky, weird Apple ones that were like round and looked almost like Trix yogurt colors.
With like the clear plastic and stuff. Yeah,
or the thick like Dell ones that you could kill a motherfucker with, allegedly. And the internet was like something that was like either in like someone's living room attached to a device or like in the back room at the crib. Yeah. Now it's just like I said, it's like everywhere, and it's just so interesting to think about the exposure of it all. And I think this shit feels spiritual to me, bro. I'm 120 deep in this shit almost, just interviewing artists, because there is a divinity in like the impact this has on us, bro. We're still talking about this shit. Yeah. It's you told me I'd be talking about Crank That. In this moment, I'll be like, what the fuck? But it makes sense. It just makes sense, man. Yeah. I want to keep marinating, though, on this kind of theme of youth and music and influence. One question I want to have about your family or just maybe friend group, church could be a place where this might apply. Were there any musicians in your family or, like, circles that maybe, influenced you at all in terms of wanting to be a musician? Or was it just, something you found?
Yeah, growing up, I didn't really have any musicians in my family. Like immediately, or like nobody who was like I had an uncle who would like play guitar and stuff every now and then, but like he wasn't somebody I like mired after in terms of like being an artist or anything. Like my family there wasn't a lot of like music in growing up like with my family. I think definitely it became something that I just like, it kind of just called to me and I just kind of found it on my own. So yeah,
that's perfect, because I wanted to I guess just get into the period when the raps start. When did you officially start getting the ideas you wanted to spit?
So I think I like the lineage, or not the lineage, but like the moment where it all started is like pretty definitive in Jahlil's personal lore or whatever. But it was definitely, I think, like junior year of high school, I joined the poetry club at my school and was just writing like poems and stuff. And I found a lot of like success and like fulfillment with that. And I don't know, it's just kind of strange because I'd always loved rap music. I always loved hip hop. I don't know why my first thought was just like with poetry and everything, but
synonymous.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I joined the poetry club, and that just brought a whole different dimension to my life than I'd had before. And then I always, like, when I get asked this question, I always give credit to my boy, Allende, because we had a rap group in high school.
Wait, Allende, yeah. I interviewed Allende, not to interrupt you, sorry, so let's keep this moment here, but
Yeah.
I interviewed the artist when he went by AB the King, and we talked about the same shit about like Falmouth being like kind of whack, and like there wasn't a lot of people that like kind of were into the things and like cultures he was into and shit. And it's so dope that now that you guys like had a. That's why I love this podcast.
Yeah,
now, go listen to that podcast and you'll hear his story too. It's like shit. So you keep going, yo.
Yeah. So it was real. So I was doing poetry and stuff. I think I had performed because they did like talent shows and like they have like open mics and stuff or something. And I performed and like like I killed that shit because and you know people there weren't. I think that was something like what I brought to the poetry slam scene found was like, you know, something that people there, like listeners, hadn't really experienced before. I was talking that real shit, you know? And so I think after that, I just remember being in the hall and like AB came up to me and I didn't even really know him that well at the time, but he came up to me and was like, yeah, we're starting a movement, we're starting a group. And it was me, homie Orlando, Timmy, aka Mentality, Jacobian, and what's both name? The homie Danny. So it was like five of us.
What was y'all name?
The 513.
What does that mean?
513 was the name. 513 was the room number of. They'd put this little like studio in one of the rooms like near the library at our school for like recording and stuff. So we would just mob up in there, and that's where we like did our tracks and stuff. So
tremendous.
Yeah.
So young roots then. Shit, man.
Yeah.
So writing was kind of how it all started.
Yeah.
Did you have any poets you were fucking with at the time?
The poets I was inspired by were rappers.
Talk on them.
I think at that time it was heavily, I want to say like Joey Badass and like Chance. Definitely. Chance, that's like cool. Lyrically, like his whole style was.
So what year is this?
This is.
I'm gonna guess just off top you saying that it's got to be between 20. I'm gonna say between 2012 and 2015.
Yeah, definitely right at that time period. Heavy for me. Because
I fuck with like acid rap and 1999 heavy. I mentioned Joey earlier. Like I was in my late teens when that shit came out, and I was like, fuck, bro. Like, it's cool to be alive when artists are making shit that's impactful and it resonates with you. You know, it feels like you're part of a moment, and it is inspiring. So you felt that same shit. It sounds like
totally,
for sure,
bro. Yeah. Nah, yeah. I think like a lot of the music that time period, like acid rap and like 1999 are like probably like my two like essential albums. And then also I'd throw in like Wolf and then like Doris too. Like I'm an Odd Future kid as well, which is like
because again like you're in your early teens right when this shit's popping up. It's so because you and the motherfuckers screaming around town like scribbling on shit. OF what is it?
Kill people, burn shit,
KTA. Yeah. That's so funny. I still remember the first time I saw the Earl video. I was 16 or 17 and it was fucking 745, 750 computer lab, and it was just like. I was so like overwhelmed by like just like the tranciness and the darkness of the beat. And I was like kind of one of the huge hip hop cats at that time in my circle. I hadn't even like tapped in deeply yet. I was still ignorant, stupid motherfucking like white 17-year-old. That's a whole different story. But that shit resonated with me too. And it's just like fuck that Earl shit when that came out, bro. Like that was a wave of stuff, man. That's one of those artists I feel like the internet kind of like fucked up, like the way kind of like a lot of cats view him in a sense, because it's hard. Like I feel like when you look at uniqueness and influence, Earl's definitely somebody who's carved out a pretty big niche of the underground. I mean, he's just dropping out with Alchemist and shit. And everyone got their preferences. Nothing's good nor bad. Everything just is. But you go back to the early Earl shit days, at least you could tell that motherfucker was on some different shit. I'm like, what is he saying about hot and bothered astronaut crashing while jacking off the buffer vids of Astaroth eating applesauce?
Yeah.
Just like alliteration. And I think I could be tripping, but the legend, who we're going to do a very brief moment of silence after this, I could be wrong, but I think Sean Price was tweeting about, remember Whoa off Doris?
Yeah.
He was like, motherfuckers ain't understanding what he's saying. Like,
oh, wow.
So first, rest in peace to Sean Price real quick. Moment of silence. I miss Sean Price so fucking much, so I really try to make sure, like, when you bring up people's names, the power they had in their life is remembered.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems kind of maybe like some motherfuckers might not get that, but that's like some of the most important shit for me, bro. Like you care about people that they don't die if you keep saying their name.
Yeah.
Enough about me. Enough about Sean Price. Enough about Earl Sweatshirt. All love, Jahlil.
Man.
Do you remember the first time you started like putting the words into a mic and recording?
Yeah, I think so. There's like two moments that kind of stick out. One was definitely the whole like when we were doing the 513 stuff at the school and all that. Like that was such a ball doing that. And I remember like, yeah, I guess the first rap I wrote. I remember the very first poem I wrote, and then the first rap that I wrote with the group. But then like, I think what was more impactful for me was the first rap that I wrote like on my own when I decided like I was gonna actually pursue this for real, and it was like an independent thing like I was doing like for me. And that was, so I graduated high school. I spent my first year college, or no, this was after my sophomore year of school. I was always like writing raps in my notebook and stuff, but then I remember, man, it's so interesting. So I was spending that summer in Brooklyn, New York. This was in when was this, 2018? No, this was 2019. And I had been doing this like internship with Genius, with like Rap Genius, because I was a journalism major, and I was writing I was doing like hip hop journalism and stuff.
That's what I got a journalism degree too, so yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah. So you already know. Yeah, so
that's a hard industry to be in, bro. 2019, man.
It is, yeah, challenging. But I just remember like leading up to that moment, I had done like a lot of hip hop journalism, a lot of like concert photography and stuff, and like I just kept finding myself like, you know, I was getting real close to the game and everything. Like I met Gunna or something, and like I just remember being like, I got this one photo of like Lil Wayne at this concert where I'm like as close as I am to Homie here. I was like standing in front of Lil Wayne. I was just like, this isn't real right now, because like coming from up here and stuff, like middle of bumfuck nowhere, Maine. Love this place, but like we're out the way.
You gotta be in the trenches with your elbows every day to make a name out here.
Type shit.
From Maine for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just like I just felt myself like getting closer and closer to it, and then being a Genius, like I'm sitting there writing these articles and stuff, and that was a crazy experience.
Yeah, I want to hear this. Can I grill you on this Genius shit?
Yeah, let me know.
How are you feeling? You want to talk on everything?
Yeah, we can speak.
Let's talk on that. What did you learn about the game in that place?
So this was two things. I think I learned some stuff about the game, and I also learned some stuff about myself through that. The first thing, just to like answer your first question, was like as I was doing that and like working that internship and stuff, like it just, it was one of those things where like I kind of saw it clear as day. Like at one point, like Genius was like a dream job for me, and then I got that shit and I was doing it, and I was like, I can do more. Like I can like, and I just boiled it down like this. Like I can either be the dude writing the article, or I can be the dude in the article.
So were you like in the office and shit? Like is it one central Genius office?
Yeah, so they got like,
oh, this is exciting. I got a mole,
yeah,
bro.
I kind of, ooh. This is Vlad TV a little bit.
This ain't no. This is This is Narwhal. This is journalism.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever. Well, personally, I could be tripping, but I feel like Vlad TV sensationalizes and leashes off people.
Oh yeah,
no. I don't want to ever do that.
Nah, my fault. I should never compare you to Vlad.
You can do whatever you want. It's all love. I know it came from a good place. I know you're just being like, oh, we're gonna say some shit type shit. I feel your film shit. Yeah. It's all love. But I definitely finna talk some shit about Genius, bro.
Yeah, man, I could tell you some
shit. Not
that
I have any beef. I just think that company's gotta be held accountable. Talk shit about me, bro. Put me on the spot too. Like everyone gotta be held accountable. So yeah, let's talk about Genius, bro. One big office.
Yeah, I mean they had a building and it was different floors for each kind of like department. Like marketing, and then like the editorial, which is where I was, and then like, other stuff, because it's a big business and everything.
It's a huge company, bro.
Huge.
Initially,
huge.
I kind of fuck with the idea. A lot of lyrics are important, but I feel like I'm kind of more on Mock Homie side, if motherfuckers know what I'm saying. With the whole
what he said about it.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, he just takes his lyrics down from that site.
Oh, really?
He puts like copyright requests because people put the wrong words up when he doesn't like a shit misrepresented.
Yeah.
And I think there's a whole indicative thing. Man, I could be wrong, but who runs Genius? Do you know from the top?
Oh man, yeah, homie. His name Tom Lehman.
Old guy, young guy?
Nah, he's like I don't know. He's like millennial
Okay.
age.
Did you ever get to like link with him, meet him up?
Yeah, I met him. He's a good
vibes?
dude. He's a friendly dude, good dude. He seemed very well intended. And no, I mean, like, I gotta give him props too, because like, you know, he built that whole thing up. And also, you know, like what Genius does, like what it initially did was like a huge part of why, you know, like I said, like hip hop opened a lot of doors for me. And like, you know, you always hear what people are talking about, but actually, like, I think back in the day when Genius was kind of first bubbling, like, I just remember going on there and just like learning so much about like the world of hip hop through like.
Well, like I said, there was a lot of like important lyrics that were like, you know, official verified ones that was like copied and shit.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say I have beef with Genius too. That's not the lens. It's just like,
right.
I got beef with many companies that like are profiting off of hip hop and maybe not giving back in the sense they should, or being respectful to the artistry.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that that Genius is doing that either. I'm just trying to find out if they are.
Yeah, I will say to that, I remember just like one thing. There's one thing about it that was just like very, like, it just put a lot of stuff in perspective. Like, I think it was just some like, so they had like a work, you know, like Slack, you know.
Very well.
Yeah, so there was like a Slack channel.
If y'all don't know what that is, like Slack is like some business kind of like group chat type shit where you can like share documents. There's different like clusters of like groups you can kind of be in. But it's like oversight from like, you know, the top, or like there can be entire like company, you know, like group chats too.
Yeah.
Very compartmentalized, but very like, you know, business type shit.
Yeah. So I remember there was I was on like one of my like last weeks of being there too. Like there was something that happened. They were talking about like Colin Kaepernick was in the news or something because he was like kneeling or doing whatever. There was some controversy about it. And I just remember being in the Slack channel, and some dude was like talking shit about like, oh, like he should be grateful, like it's disrespectful.
Like, it was an employee, like a work Slack channel.
It was like an employee channel, and this dude was just talking all this mess about like black people and stuff, and just like, you know, everything going on in America and all that. And like, I can't lie, like that shit made me hot, because I was like, bro, this doesn't make any sense. Like, and like my thought was like, how are you sitting here? You're part of this company that is, yeah, it exists, and it finances itself off and around like hip hop and like black culture. It's revolutionary music, and like what niggas are doing in hip hop, everything that they're putting out and everything they're saying is toward the same objective that Colin Kaepernick is getting at when he's kneeling. So like, I'm sitting here thinking like, why? Like, it doesn't make any sense for you. Like, you wouldn't have this job if it wasn't for dudes like Kaepernick, if it wasn't for dudes like KRS-One.
The
and
energy,
like,
but the mindset behind that shit.
Yeah. So like, that to me just shows me that like, you know, certain people in that industry are just kind of out of touch with what this whole thing is, you
whack
know?
as fuck.
Yes, you know?
I guess that is pretty much what I think I was putting my brain towards more, is like, I feel like there's individuals, and I don't want to assume shit, but like a lot of white motherfuckers in hip-hop, in journalism, and like, I don't want to guess, it was the building in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like in like places like Brooklyn, where it's like hotbeds of like youth, commerce, entertainment.
Yeah.
Who have made livings off of black culture and black artists and black people, but aren't showing respect or any like just understanding of the culture behind that, man. It really just is like something that doesn't sit right at all with me, man.
Yeah. I appreciate hearing you say that.
I feel like because I'm white, I have to be 3 times like aware of that shit, bro. I don't want to be that cool white dude, especially in Maine. You see how many motherfuckers out here in Maine? They're gonna get checked by their 13 white friends. Look like fools out here.
Yeah, man.
There's so many motherfuckers out.
It's so like, bro, it's really interesting, because like the scene out here is like, that is like it. I'm glad to hear you say that too, because it's like it's just weird, because like, yeah, a lot of like the scene out here is dominated by those kinds of people who have like, they love to partake in it and consume it, but they don't, you know, they aren't held to the same responsibility of like, you know, what it really takes to be like an MC and everything. And yes, like, this is a black art.
Hip hop is black as fuck.
It's
like it's to me, it's unequivocally like black. I'm a guest in this shit. It's black culture. If you don't get it, how the fuck are you even in this shit at this point?
Yeah, and that's like, I feel like that's like, because at this point, like, I mean, hip hop is like international, hip hop is worldwide, and like, I feel like the thing is like, you ask any black dude or like any, you know, rapper in general, like, I don't really like it, like, I'm happy that like other people and people from other cultures can rap. Like hearing like even like UK rap and stuff, and just like people, you know, other people rapping is just like, it's cool, but it's just like, I feel like there's a misconception about like why there's a want and a need for us to gatekeep that shit a little bit, because it's like, we're not upset that other people are partaking in our craft. It's just like, we created this thing and everybody else is kind of like getting something else out of it, but we're still, you know, in America, we're still at the bottom of the barrel. So
yeah, I mean,
but
really, I can't speak on any of that because that ain't an experience or perspective I'll firsthand understand. But when I view all that shit, Brody, it's just like, if you can't just understand that certain cultures create certain things, and you have to respect that, and in every essence, hip hop pertains to black culture in that way, you just don't deserve to be in it, man. And like, it's just fucked up that like we're living in a world, in a country or system that's so like whitewashed, and white supremacy is so ingrained in like the macro and microcosms of everyday life, that people don't see that. And in areas like this, the majority, I feel like, if I could say, like, partakes in like kind of privilege of that, and they don't, you know, like 9 times out of 10 motherfuckers ain't gonna put their body or their safety on the line for the ideals that they make a living off of.
True.
That shit don't sit right with me.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate the honesty, because it's too many. I mean, I'm on my shit, you know, like, with speaking in the mic and being aware, but we're speaking from the heart right now, because I'm not even getting close to the mic. Like, I gotta get up in here and just say, like, I appreciate the honesty, Brody, straight up, because
it's real.
This is what the shit's about. Hip hop is about putting a mirror to what's already out here.
Yeah.
And any of you white ass motherfuckers acting incorrect out here, if I'm around you,
man,
just know it ain't gonna fly.
Homage,
and it ain't even
man.
about me. It's just show respect in the culture you were guest in.
Yeah.
Tremendous, man. I love these are the conversations that we need to have.
Definitely.
Because I'm off topic now. I gotta go back to my email of questions,
sure.
but man, that hit me.
Yeah.
The earliest work I found from the Jahlil name was about 3 years back on the SoundCloud. It was a track called Jonesin', I believe. Do you remember that joint?
Yeah.
You want to talk on that?
Yeah, sure. So that, I think, man, that is an interesting track. I just remember writing that. When did I write that? I think that was also 2019. Yeah, just being at, that was when I was at Howard. It's like my second year being in the dorms there and stuff.
Wait, you went to Howard?
Yeah. So that was...
Let's talk about that. How'd that happen?
Okay. So after...
Pause on the music.
Okay.
Wait, is Howard in D.C.?
Yeah, Howard's in D.C.
Because I was going to say, how did you get to D.C. and shit? So let's wrap all that up. Talk
Okay.
on that journey. Because Brooklyn, was that an internship?
Yeah, that was an internship.
Did that come through Howard?
Yeah, it did. But kind of like... So, all right, so...
Yeah, put the pieces together.
Okay, yeah, I'll lay it out. So... Yeah, so after, like, growing up here and stuff and being, like, in Falmouth and all that, my first thought when I turned 18 was, like, how do I get the fuck out of here? So I went to, my route to that was through college. So I applied and I went to school at Fordham University in the Bronx, which was, like, going to New York was, like, a dream for me because, like, hugely inspired by, like, New York rap, like Joy Badass and then, like, Tribe and, like, ASAP and, just different. I feel like that's the closest influence that I could, like, pull from without, like, it wouldn't make sense for me to be an East Coast kid, like, rapping, like, some California kids or something like that.
I feel like I hit that, so, like, I feel like the East Coast is, like, one big area. And once you hear, like, Prodigy rap for the first time, you're like, yeah, I'm probably going to have, like, a bacon egg sandwich and, like, stand outside in the cold, like, once a year for sure. Like, it's just in my soul, bro. I cannot do it.
I mean, we be on close to the same shit. So, yeah. So I went to school at Fordham for a year, and I was tight. I met some really dope people there, but in a small pocket because the rest of, outside of the friends that I made, it was very similar to my experience growing up in Falmouth. So just, rich, preppy, kind of,
journalism degree though, like, what were you studying?
At the time I was studying, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just was like, all right, political science, just
Poli
arts.
sci.
Yeah, yeah. Thought I was gonna do some cool shit with that. But then so after that, and actually I actually got a chance to meet Tom Lehman while I was at Fordham, and that's when I learned about the
genius.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I learned about the internship program and all that. And so after that year, I transferred to Howard the next summer, and that was 2018, and then that's when I switched my degree to journalism, and I was writing for the school paper, and that's when I was doing like the concert photography and like hella like articles on hip hop journalism.
What was this time like? Like when you got the transfer and you're in a new school, like was there like good things, bad things about it?
Yeah, it was man, I'll be honest, man, it was challenging. It was a lot to adjust to. I'd never really been in that kind of environment or had that kind of experience before. So yeah, it was definitely like in general, a lot of the time spent in college was like exploratory for me, because just growing up here and how I came from was like pretty much polar opposite to what Howard presents and what those kinds of environments present.
Yeah, that's a HBCU, right?
Yeah. So it was great. It was a blessing to be able to go there. I met some really dope cats there, like some really cool people.
I could be so fucking wrong. Did Mavi go to school there when you were there?
He did. Yeah, we were at school there the same time for like 2 years, I think. And I met him a couple times.
Is it a big school?
It's like it's like pretty small, but it's like dense, if that makes sense.
Where's it at in DC? Is it in the city?
Yeah, it's in the city. It's where is it? It's like
I don't know shit about DC.
Yeah, it's in like Northwest, I guess. So, pretty close to like downtown. Definitely like a populated area. So, yeah, it was cool. Like DC in itself was, there was the culture change of going to Howard, and then the culture change of going to DC, because it's culture that black culture is very rich there.
I feel like going from Falmouth, is Fordham like hella white, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, from going to Fordham to a HBCU must be hella different, bro.
Yeah, it was crazy, like night and day.
What were the Mavi stories?
So with Mavi, I guess like it's really interesting. I like, sadly I didn't really get a chance to know him that well, but it was so crazy for me because I was just I was going through a lot of just like changes and challenges, like adjusting to that.
It's a hard. College is a really fucked up time too, bro.
Yeah, it was, and I think at that time, I'd also like, by that time, like I had kind of like, and this kind of goes back to the initial thing you asked me, but like I think at that time I'd kind of like shelved the idea of like being a rapper or doing anything, because I was just like, I'm from Maine, like I can't do this, like what the fuck I look like going out here trying to make my name and all that. And I was kind of like that for like my first few years of school, but then when I was at Howard, there was just like so much going on, and like so many kids were pursuing music, and there was open mics and just so many opportunities for that. So I was just like, fuck it, this is a place I can try to get that done. I might as well do that. And then that following summer, after that experience with Genius, was like, all right, I'm finna make this happen, like I'm gonna go do this. But still like kind of carrying that kind of mindset of how to approach my own creativity, and like how to envisioning myself as being a successful artist and being a rapper is like very challenging, and honestly something that is still a challenge to me.
It's necessary. You have to have that faith.
Yeah.
You have to do something.
Yeah, and that's part of the title on that album that we'll get into next.
That's a good segue. Let's talk about the Timepiece EP.
The what?
Timepiece EP.
Oh, Timepiece? Yeah, for sure.
That's a Jahlil project, right?
Yeah. That's the next one.
Was that your first EP?
Yeah, it was. That was the first project. Well, yeah, the first of two projects where I really like sat down and was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a project, and was like trying to be like very intentional with it.
How did you link with Y2K Jahlil?
So how did I link with him?
Did Jahlil contribute to that project?
Yes, he did in a huge way.
Do you produce, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get into that because I want to talk about V1 Bucket after this, but I want to marinate on this Jalen shit.
Okay.
Talk on Jalen. How'd y'all link?
So I met him through AB. AB had threw this like community day in Deering Oaks a couple years ago.
Was it cleanup and
shit?
Yeah,
were you at that joint?
I could not make that, and I respected the fuck out that shit.
Oh man, that was a live event.
Always moving forward.
Yeah, always forward was his brand at the time. I think he's still running that. But yeah, I met him. I had like, man, it was so much going on that day. Like I think we were like something happened. There were some like technical difficulties or something, but I just ended up kind of pulling through and like. I rapped and did a couple tracks, and Jalen and his bro like came up to me. It was Jalen at first, and was just like, "Yo, like you're tough, like we should link." And then we chopped it up a little, and then I gone back to school that fall, and then I came back and I was working on the EP through that whole fall, and then it was like winter break. I was back here. And winter break was like 3 weeks or like a month almost. So I came back here and was like, all right, I need somewhere to like record stuff and get it touched off and finalized. So I reached out to them. And
time zone.
Yeah, so yeah, the time zone. It was kind of boring to be.
Shout out all the homies at
shout out Time Zone.
Time Zone Studio. Shout out Jalen. Shout out Permy. Shout out Chris, man. Shout out Y2K, man. Y2 Crazy killing it.
Shout out Permy.
Permy, my favorite rapper right
Permy's
now from Maine.
Don't play with Permy.
Don't fucking play with
Don't play with none of them guys.
You play with Permy, you play with the whole RhymeBeat street team and the whole RhymeBeat empire. Just know that. Let's talk about V1 Bucket, because after like the Timepiece EP, Jahlil, I feel like you really stayed busy. This is winter 22, you know, this ain't too far in our recent past here. Was V1 Bucket produced that was that a piece, that you entirely produced?
Yeah.
Was that the first time you would drop something like that?
Yeah,
Talk on that. Let's talk on
track
that.
is really unique because that opened a lot of doors for me too. So the story with Bucket is just like, it's kind of like, I don't want to call it a throwaway or something, but it was just kind of like something that just happened. I think I microdosed some shrooms that morning, and I just like my roommate back in DC, he played guitar. I was just like, yo, can I just borrow your guitar? And was just kind of like strumming on it, and like I never really played guitar at all, but like I think like, I don't know, musically, like I'm still learning music theory and like learning how to like read notes and stuff, because I played piano and stuff, but like, so I'm not really sharp on that, but like I know music, so like I was able just to get the guitar to say or do what I wanted to hear, and I just, I liked it. I remember I just played it on the acoustic, and then I just kind of threw some, like reverb and stuff on it, just a little bit of effect, and it was just like, this is peaceful, so I'm gonna just put this out. So yeah, that was a fun joint.
You said it opened doors. What did you mean by that?
It just kind of expanded my mind a little bit. It kind of made me realize, like, I think going forward with my career and stuff, I want to do a lot of stuff with just music and instrumentation in general. So I just reminded myself that I love hip hop. Hip hop, my first love, for real. It's cliche as people say it is, but
so the casket drop,
right? And so yeah, but then after that, I was just like, okay, I can do more with this. And I think that's the story for a lot of young black kids in general. Like, I think like Tyler talks about it a lot in like his interviews, and like recently, like with his success and everything, because like, obviously like he started with Earl and stuff in that same time period of just like very brash, like, like unadulterated like teen energy.
We want to front y'all motherfuckers, y'all internet, Twitter motherfuckers, X motherfuckers, fuck whatever, fuck X. Elon Musk. Y'all would have canceled Tyler the Creator, or tried to, the second y'all heard like Transylvania or some shit, bro. Like, I want to say this, man, just on some story shit, bro.
Yeah.
Old Orchard Beach, Maine, 2011. I'm in a sandpit in the woods. 2 minivans come thundering down a rocky ledge.
Oh, shit.
Pull up in the sandpit. Motherfuckers hop in. Start rolling blunts. Cats in the back with the hatchback closed, lifted up, feet up, can barely fit.
Yeah.
I go up and see the homies in one of these vans. I knock on one of them. The most smoke I had ever seen at the time. The most wild synthesizers I had ever heard at the time. The most wild, like, hip-hop probably I'd ever heard at the time came out. Motherfuckers was just clamp baking on, like, I think some joints from the Bastard tape from Tyler. What the fuck, bro? That shit was wild.
That was like when you first heard.
That was one of the first times I heard them joints.
Yeah.
First time I heard Tyler was through Yonkers, but, like, that was the first time I'll say hip-hop really became this thing for me. I'm like, this is what will impact youth the most forever.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's indicative of black culture, whether it's indicative of like the music, whether it's indicative of whatever. I just feel like if this shit hits your soul when you're young and you realize the power of it, you can't ever undermine that. It just is a part of you, man. And
yeah,
it's just funny, man. Like, I didn't mean to get on a tangent, but like you just bringing up that shit like makes me think about like the power of this shit, bro. It really is everywhere, man. It's so fucking beautiful.
It
has to be marinated on and be like, wow, man. Like, but back on the Jahlil story, as you were saying, Tyler was talking about how, you know, like, maybe hip-hop can be an entranceway to other sounds you weren't privy to, in a sense.
Yeah, definitely.
That could be maybe talking about sampling, too, if we want to get on some other topics that aren't really, you know, on my list. This is why we talk on podcasts and shit.
Yeah.
Hip-hop is my favorite genre because it has put me onto the most amount of shit ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, I would, like, the shit that Dilla alone has put me onto, and that's one producer.
Yeah.
What do you feel about this topic? Talk on it.
Bro, off of that, man, like, I feel like, yeah, bro, like, there's some, like, hip-hop touches, like, every facet of, like, every culture that's, like, ever existed. Like,
every sound you ever heard.
Every sound, like, yeah, I mean, just in general, like, yeah, like, producers like Madlib and Dilla alone, like, bro, like, that's a whole topic. Like,
I could do 200 episodes about Madlib.
Yeah, no, really though, because like,
not gonna about that.
Like, bro, sampling in general, like, is just like so. Like, I guess a better way to say it is like every you can find some facet of every culture will somehow meet in hip hop, whether it's a sample, whether it's like Madlib like sampling like Peruvian like yodeling or some shit, or like or like Wu-Tang on some like mafioso shit talking about like the Genovese family and this and
how much of like kung fu lore and movies did they introduce to the world? The cat is knocking things down, birthday shenanigans, cat we still running wild. Damn, man. No, you're right, though. Hip-hop is just global, international, it's universal. I wouldn't be surprised if the Big Bang was started when Herc dropped the needle for the first time, or when Lee Scratch Perry started doing shit for the first time, or when King Tubby started doing shit for the first time. That could have caused the Big Bang back in the way, because space-time is something we cannot see in our own perception. What if it's all just one entity, and the shit happens in the future, and it could take the past? What I'm saying is, can we talk about the joint Vegas Nerve?
Okay, yeah, for sure.
What inspired you to make that song, Vegas Nerve?
Oh, man, it's actually kind of embarrassing. I was mad.
You don't have to if it's too much.
Nah, it's cool because I'm going to be authentic.
Good, yeah.
I got dubbed by a shorty, and I was sick about it. Yeah. So I made the track.
It's a good way to get shit out.
Yeah, it was good. It was definitely like a therapeutic thing. I definitely got my shit off on it, and some bars and shit too. But then the name Vegas Nerve is some like deeper.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
talk on that
for sure. So that I remember, man, this is deep. But I remember talking to like my therapist about it, because you know it's like heartbreak.
That's where I learned about it too.
Yeah, and talking about like, you know, psychosomatic stuff, and like, cause I'm very like, I'll be honest, bro. Like I'm a very emotional person, and I feel my emotions like very, like, presently and like very real. And I just remember like in that specific moment what I was going through, I told my therapist, I was like, yeah, like I remember telling him like I felt it in like a specific area of my brain and like in my body, and I was like trying to tell him about it, and he was like, yeah, it's your Vegas nerve. Schooled me on that. So I was like, oh, that's tight, because I didn't even know that there was like a relationship between those two kinds of things. Like I thought I was just tripping.
No.
So that was, you know, it was cool. It was cool to get to know that. And yeah, because it's all about mastery too. And that's another thing about that, you know, that hip hop does. It's been, for me, and I'm sure a great deal of many other people, it's helped me like kind of understand myself better, in a lot of ways, and like, you know, there's definitely different patterns and stuff that we go through in life, and being able to like this hip hop shit and like being a writer is such a gift because like I can really, you know, if I'm going through something, I can like take a step back and sit down and put that shit on paper, and you know, if it, you know, attach it with a melody, make it rhyme, and that's how I like understand and like reason with things and like cope with things. And like, you know, without that, I don't know what kind of position I would be in. I don't know what kind of dude I would be right now. I'd probably be out my mind right now.
No, yeah. It's like all that shit just hits, you know?
Yeah.
One thing I forget about when I'm on a podcast is that podcasting and conversation are not the same thing sometimes. When I resonate with motherfuckers, I don't even have to like really speak anymore. I just try and convey the feeling of understanding through my energy. I was about to do that. I was about to just be silent and be like,
yeah,
I feel you. And like dap you, and I'm like, nah, I gotta like talk on that because that's real, bro. Like, we're really powerful beings, man. What we experience, and we're really just simply what we react to more than what we are. And the emotions we feel, man. I feel you on that heavy. And the vagus nerve is no joke. When you read into like the vagus nerve, I don't want to like rant and project too much of maybe my life out here, but the vagus nerve is something about the human body that changed how I view everything. Because the mind is not just the mind and the way we think. It is physical. You have thoughts in your brain that legit can create such a reaction. They can send a neural response to hit a nerve that will go down the back of your neck, your spine, your stomach. And what happens when you get nervous? Your brain freaks out, you get chills in your neck, your spine, and bubble guts and butterflies. There's a nerve that intertwines all that. And through, I'm projecting again, but through my life, bro, meditative breath control and awareness of the vagus nerve has allowed me to truly understand that I am not a body, I am not a mind, I am merely energy that is aware of itself in the greater context of energy. And this is just how I view myself. Y'all don't have to view yourself like that, but I don't believe in many things that are truthful. And when I close my eyes and look inward in infinite ways, this is what I feel is the truth. And I wouldn't have had that understanding without the fact that there are things in the archetype of our makeup that take us out of ourselves so much we forget what we are. And the vagus nerve is something that once you can control a little bit, and it's really hard to control, it changes you. It's like when you're aware of the pineal gland for the first time, it changes you. There's things in the human body that like, whew, we are divine space robots that are computerized to feel crazy shit from the cosmos. And they're not even some real like, oh, they're high. No, this is the truth, bro. I was baptized. I believe in that 3,000 times less, times a million actually, than I believe in this. So, shout out the Vegas nerve, bro. I just wanted to say that shit because I would not be here too without this shit. Music saved me. But one pillar that saved me too was awareness of self, and therapy got me to that point. And the vagus nerve got me to that point. So I just want to say it's real shit. Vagus nerve is real.
For sure.
I don't do a lot of daps on this shit, but so I'm telling you, like that shit's. You are more your vagus nerve than you are yourself, Jack.
Bro,
Soon after, we had another beautiful thing occur. Ye of Little Faith 7.4 came out in May of this year, I believe. On some non-journalistic shit. I enjoyed this release. I think it's the strongest display of your skill set thus far. But, I don't know, it just feels connected as a whole, which is something I look for in albums. Like, maybe not necessarily a theme or a concept, but is there an energy that kind of I can feel, like, you know, when track 2 ends into track 3 into 4, that there's maybe, you know, not an arc, but something. And I felt that type of vibe in this release, and I appreciated that. First question, what does the 7.4 mean?
7.4, it was the 7th mix and like the 4th arrangement, I think.
Like the sequencing of the songs.
Sequencing the songs, and then I'd mix it like 7 different times or something like that. And honestly, like it took me 7 times to mix because like I like just learned how to do that shit, and I'm not the sharpest with it. So it's literally just like trial and error. But and then you leave little numbers and shit out to make your shit look cool, you know?
No, I like that. I mean, sometimes like I don't know if it was some like divinity shit like numbers, or if it was to me it seemed like it was some something pertaining to like technological computer stuff.
Yeah.
It's just
in a way,
like like a bounce in a sense or a mix.
Yeah.
Let's talk on this project though. What was your mindset on this one? This is your first full release, right? Like, there's like kind of like an album.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess technically. Man, that's a whole nother story as well. Man, this one's deep. So I'll just say, I'll put it like this. So so I went through some crazy shit while I was in college and like the last couple years before I graduated, and it was all kind of like intertwined with my commitment to school, and then my commitment to try to take this life seriously as an artist and trying to make this like happen and make it a real career. And I was in this place where I was kind of evaluating what I was going to do next. I was here last summer, and I was considering moving back here because there's this album that I've been working on that kind of tells my entire life story and a lot of the stuff that I've gone through in a way that I haven't really been able, like just in a fluid way and in a way that I can do it like completely and wholly, and it's like it's my truth and everything. So I have this album that I've been working on, and I'm big on like physical stuff too. Like I journal every day, and I write most of my raps like pen and pad and stuff, and so
hell yeah.
Yeah, and so I had basically I had like a bunch of notebooks and stuff, and like a couple hard drives, and just a bunch of different physical compartments that were like records of my life and stuff, and like different stuff I've been through, and all that was content for this album that I'm working on. And then I was here for the summer. I thought about moving back here, but I ended up going back to DC, just because I had a lot going on there at the time, and I was just like, all right, I gotta go, focus on what's important there. But as I was there, I think it was like my second or third week being back there. I'll tell this story real quick. So I was on my way to a session, with my friend, producer out in DC, Magnus Andretti. Shout out Magnus. That dude is ill, and I've done a bunch of tracks with him. I was on my way to a session with him, and it was just strange because, sorry, this is like a really deep story if you want me to tell the whole thing. So like, I was on my way to the session, and prior to that, he had told me like, so he like has a home studio where we record at normally, but I guess they were doing like some repairs or some construction on it. So he had hit me up and he told me, he was like, yo, like the studio's closed down, so just like bring your mic and your interface and stuff so we can just like work in my room type shit. And I was like, okay. And for some reason, I don't know like why I did this. Oh man. But
oh, my cat just fell. You okay,
wild,
sweetie? Yeah, she good. Sorry.
Yeah.
You about your mic?
Yeah. So
you were feeling type of way, you saying?
Yeah, I don't know why I did this, but like he told me to bring my mic and my interface and stuff, and I don't know why, but like I didn't know what track I was gonna work on that day. I had like a bunch of stuff that I thought I kind of wanted to do, so I ended up bringing like most of my notebooks, and like I brought my like 3 like important notebooks that I had, and then like a hard drive, and like my laptop and stuff with like all my beats on it. Basically like everything that I had done like independently with music, I had in this one bag. I'm on the way to the session, and I like parked to pick up some food or something because I was on my way there and I was early. And when I came back, a couple of kids had like smashed my window and robbed me and took all the shit that I had because it was all in one bag. So they just like, they hit a clean lick on me, and I lost all my shit. And I was like, bro, it just like, it was crazy because I never like, and it didn't hit me until like a couple days like what I really lost, because I was like, I wasn't tripping about the laptop, I wasn't tripping about the mic or anything. I was like, that's easily replaceable.
It's the files. Yo, if you rob this motherfucker, just what's it called? Oh, I'm tripping. I had a good line and I lost it, bro. Dropbox the motherfucking beats and shit, bro.
Bro, yeah, keep the laptop, pawn that shit, but just give me my beats back, bro. But
damn, bro, that sucks.
Yeah, it was tough, but like, yeah, like it was just something that like, yeah, I'd never been robbed before or anything like that, and I'd never really like lost something that like meant that much to me either. So
That
I was
shit irreplaceable, bro.
irreplaceable, and especially for what I was putting it towards, it was so essential. But luckily, I thank God for my brother and my homie Nate. Shout out Lil Zucchini. Cause I was wilding for like a couple of weeks. Like I was like really depressed, and I was angry as fuck too. I was trying to like come up with ways that I was gonna go like track these kids down and like get this shit back. Like I was really thinking about some wild shit, and in separate conversations with both these two dudes, they just kind of like sat me down and like, you know, talked to me about like, bro, like the main thing was like, okay, like you lost all your shit, like I know that shit's hella important to you, but like you're good, like you're alive, like you could have lost your life, like a million worse things could have happened. And just like my boy, yeah, Zucchini, he just really like stressed the importance of like being an artist and like detaching yourself from your work. And like even though like that shit meant so much to me and so much of my personhood was attached to the lyrics and the music, like just understanding that like I'm still who I am without that.
That's facts.
You know?
That's
so
facts. I think about like kind of, I don't know, that's something I struggle with, I think, in a sense of like the physical realm. And I have a lot of shit I care about, and I even start to question myself and like, can I keep, you know, being here for myself sometimes? And I'm like, you're already here, man. It's not about like what you have and what you've done, it's about what you are in this moment. And remember like what you can do for yourself in the sense of all you have already done for yourself, you know? I try to remember that a lot, because it's weird, I have the most like imposter syndrome type shit where I undermine my capabilities, and I'm like, you don't need anything. You don't need like anything physical. Fuck, bro, you don't need clothes. You got your abilities and your intuition and what the universe gave you. You can't put a price on that, bro. I think that's so important. It sounds like you kind of were realizing that at the same time. In a sense, it's like what I have inside of me is something you can't put a price tag on.
Yeah.
And regardless of the justified feelings I may have about this like really fucked up situation, you can't touch what I got on the inside, bro.
Right. Yeah.
Damn. That is pretty heavy. So then, did that kind of make you then approach this project in a different way? Like, be a little faith?
Yeah, definitely. It was like the whole, it was kind of like my reassertion of like how much this shit means to me. And like, because at that point I was like, you know, I was thinking about this album that I wanted to make, and without that stuff I was like, this, like, it's not gonna be possible. Like, but you know, my brother was just like real heavy about like, okay, like you can't let that shit like shake you off, like you can't let it stop you, you gotta just shake it off. And yeah, so like it really was just like a testament of like, yeah, just asserting that like, yeah, I'm always gonna do this, and I'm always gonna make shit, and even though it sucked to lose that shit, like, yeah, I'm still gonna I'm gonna take this experience and like all the shit that I was learning from it and make it into something. And another like crucial part of that was like, as I was like coping and dealing with shit, like he just told me, like my brother told me to read the book of Job, and that's why the first track on there is titled Job.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
Yeah.
It's like, I need some Arrested Development shit. That seems like some biblical shit.
yeah. So, yeah. So that was that's like a reference to that, and that's like that's a whole story about, and it's crazy too, cause like the book of Job is about like, it's about like it's like faith amid enduring loss, and like you know, and it just kind of like, it humbles you. It just like, it reminds you that like, yeah, bro, like life doesn't always go the way you want it to go. Like, and even being like, Job was like a righteous dude and shit, and he kept enduring this loss and having shit like taken from him in a way, and it was all like a test of faith. And it did two things. It like, it showed me that it's like, okay, like, yeah, like I'm human, like I don't, you know, as much as I was trying to keep my chin up through it, like, yeah, I definitely have moments where I was like really broken down, and just remind me like, yeah, that's okay. But just like, as long as you, the only thing that's going to get you through that is gratitude for what you do have and what you can hold and touch, and the things that you can't, like you said, the stuff that's in you. So just focusing on that. So
that shit forever, bro.
Yeah.
How did you link with Noon Somewhere?
Bro, Noon's
is that DJ
homie.
Noon?
Yeah.
DJ Noon's dope. Shout out DJ Noon.
Yeah, shout out Noon, bro. Noon is the homie. Noon is one of the most genuine dudes I've ever met.
Dope ass beats.
Dope ass producer.
New York? From New York?
Yeah, from New York, out in Long Island. I linked with him. I met him at this performance. What was it? It was a showcase put on by a group of friends that I know in New York called Platform. Shout out June and Samaya and the Nexus. I met them through the homie in Nexus. Damn, all the homies getting shouted out on this pod. So yeah, I met him through them. I performed at one of their showcases and he was there. And yeah, we just chopped it up, and then I went to another one. I seen him drop some beats and stuff, and so yeah, we just became friends. And then he like sent me some beats and stuff, and then we ended up linking up in New York, I think a couple times. And yeah, he's always throwing me beats and stuff. So I got a few joints in the tuck with him. Yeah, he's nice.
Sorry, I don't want this cat to knock down these players, bro.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate the anecdotes. Down for some really fast rapid fire questions?
Yeah, let's get
Favorite flavor of Doritos?
Cool Ranch.
What is your favorite Portland food spot?
Damn, that's on the spot. Off rip, I'm gonna just say Bon Appetit.
Yeah, Bon Appetit's the best banh mi's in town, bro, in my opinion.
It's amazing, incredible. Yeah.
Lemon, grass, chicken, or the shrimp.
Yeah.
I didn't write any down. I'm just doing it. Favorite Outkast album?
Quemini.
That's probably my favorite too.
Best joint.
What was the biggest lesson you learned at Howard University?
Be yourself.
What was some advice you would tell your younger self?
Be yourself, man.
There you go. What's one color that you really like a lot?
Green. Green and
Rock,
purple is
Kim,
my favorite.
Or Big Daddy Kane?
Rakim, I guess, just cause I know his music better than Kane.
Yeah, MF Doom or King Ghidorah?
Doom.
They're both the same person anyway. Don't matter. Gotcha.
Shit. Shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, King Ghidorah, Victor Vaughn. That was fair too. I'm an internet nerd. I'm just trying to do off rip ones. I really wrote like go off freestyle for this because it's hard for me to sometimes think of questions on the spot. If you could have any type of day or any time of day to record, what's your favorite time of day?
Like 3 a.m.
Goal you still have as an artist?
Grammy.
Would you be mad if you went on stage and someone came and smashed a Grammy? As a protest against the fucked up rankings of the system?
Shit. I mean, nah. If it was on that shit, nah, that'd be pretty tight.
Cool. I like that answer. What's your favorite Robin Williams movie?
Dead Poets Society.
Do you think that construction is a racket, or is it actually helping out society as a whole?
I feel like both.
Let's talk about construction for 30 seconds.
Uh-huh.
All I'm going to say, if I get a dozen homies, 2 white work vans, a pickup truck, and we all wear hard hats and reflector vests, is it possible we could take over any block, anywhere, if you had enough traffic cones?
Hell yeah.
Is that how construction works?
Hell yeah.
We're letting motherfuckers who are privately contracted telling us what to do on public roads. You ever think about that shit? That's weird as hell. Bro. You survived the rapid fire, Jahlil. Thank you.
Man, I'm glad I survived. Sheesh.
Talk on what's to come. Anything you want to tease?
Yeah, I got a track in the tuck I've been meaning to drop for like the last 3 weeks. I gotta drop that shit. That joint will be out Friday. I don't know when this podcast is dropping, but
this will be out. So tomorrow?
Yeah.
Today is the 7th. 9/8. This ain't dropping tomorrow.
Oh,
the new Jahlil single's heat, bro.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I hope I like it. I think I will.
I'll play it for y'all.
Yeah, I probably will like it. I probably will like it. I like pretty much everything I heard from you, to be straight.
Thank you.
Where can motherfuckers reach you? How?
Well, you can get my music on Bandcamp. Go to Bandcamp first. Bandcamp is the best platform for rising independent artists. That sounded like a sponsored statement, but it wasn't.
For the love of money.
So yeah, Bandcamp, streaming platforms, and then I'm on socials too, but Bro, I can't even lie, bro. IG has been kicking my ass this year.
Yeah, IG's corrupt.
My
Fuck all these apps.
phone addiction is at like DEFCON levels, like DEFCON 3.
Should keep being aware of it. You can always tweak it as long as you're aware of it.
Yeah, I gotta get that. You seen the light phone?
I've seen like the blue light shit.
Yeah, it's different. It's like a phone where it's like, it's just like a stripped
solar
down.
powered.
Nah, it's just like a stripped down like phone. Like it's a modern phone.
Light like.
Yeah, like light, like LIT.
I'm thinking light.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, what is your social media?
Oh, my social is Jahlil, 3 J's, AH, 4 I's, LIL.
Perfect. Any shout outs? Just people, anything?
Shout out RhymeBeat. Shout out the boy Benny. Shout out the homie. Shout out Fourth and Oak in DC. Shout out Magnus again. Shout out my boy Jordan. He working. Shout out Stratford out in Philly. Bro, there's so many names coming to my head. Shout out all the
shout them out.
Man.
Shout out everybody.
Yeah.
Last question. Are you ready? That wasn't the last question. Where will Jahlil be 1 year from now?
1 year from now, somewhere on the East Coast.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
As per usual, it's been fun. Take care of yourself. This is a reminder that you got to lean on your people and the community around you way more than this system. Because a bunch of evil oligarchs plan this shit to fail so they could get rich and hide underground when the oceans come up. Or the aliens come. It don't really matter because this podcast is sponsored by Yardy Ting. Peace.